All right, welcome to our podcast. This is episode number 3, 4, something like that. And it is just after Christmas. It's the end of the year. And Vince and I are going to chat a little bit about what's happened in the past year. We'll kind of recap the past year. And then we're going to talk about what we think is going to happen in the future.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you, too.
Thank you.
Happy Hanukkah.
Happy Hanukkah. Did you bring your little thingy, the candle thing?
The menorah?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the menorah. We need a menorah.
Culturally appropriate here, yeah.
We need a menorah.
Well, we don't have a Christmas tree either, so I think we're okay.
All right,
We're kind of being neutral, which is all right.
We like neutral.
All right, so let's go through the past.
The past.
So start with the beginning of last year. Beginning of
I
this
think
year,
we're going to get more snow this year.
Okay.
We didn't get a lot of snow last year.
Didn't we get like
Did
a
we?
ton in like the beginning? Remember how it was also rainy?
No.
I mean, it was like there was a
In the
ton.
beginning of the in
beginning
the
of this
spring.
year.
But I think just based on the amount of rain we got last year and the amount of rain we got last summer, that we're going to get buried with snow this year. And it's a wet snow. It's not a dry snow.
I mean, it's the end of December now. We've hardly had any snow as it is.
So if anybody knows the total accumulation of snow, not rain, let us know so
Right.
we can add that.
Or if we could just Google that. Right.
Yeah, we could do that.
All right, so let's talk about real estate in last year, not just the weather.
So real estate.
Real
Oh
estate,
my
mortgage
gosh.
rates. What?
When was the last time you were on a roller coaster?
It's been a while.
If you ever had one stop at the top,
Is that where we feel we're at?
that's where we were.
Okay.
That's where we were. The past. We're talking about the past now.
All right.
So if you ever been on a roller coaster, it's going, and then all of a sudden, boom, it just stopped.
Yes.
That's how I would describe last year.
All right. So if you're going to do that, then I would say like the last 3 years have been like that slow along the bottom, right? Because things have been at 3% for 2.5 years or so before last year.
Before 20.
Before
So when 2023 hit, right? Into 2022.
Into 2022, yeah, that's when
Yeah.
things started to crank up.
Yeah,
Both
so
the
we
rates.
were just steady. Doot, 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 doot. Click, 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 click.
Yep.
Yeah. And then
So-
all of a sudden, it's like, you seen those cars with the crash dummies?
Yeah.
When they just hit a wall? That's what happened. And hopefully you weren't driving.
So, and it's interesting that is what happened, because I do think that a lot of things just kind of froze up. People freaked out. I mean, we went from 3% to 4.5%, and I had people who were like, I don't know, this is a little sketchy, right?
Yeah.
And then by the end of the year, we're like, October, November, something like that. We're at 8%.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
Yeah. That's what I mean. That roller coaster hit hard.
yeah. But I have to tell you, the whole time that rates were going up, I kept telling my people, pray for 8, pray for higher interest rates.
8 is great.
8 is great. And that seems crazy, but the reason for that is
Because if you still were at a 3% rate,
Hmm.
then you might be paying 50, 75, 100,000 over ask price. I was in a class, my continuing education class. I did not share this with you, but I'm going to share it now.
okay.
So I was in my continuing education class. Somebody offered $1 million over ask price.
Okay. For how expensive was the property?
2.5.
Yeah. So here's my thing: is you can say, I'll offer you $1 million over asking price, and it doesn't matter what the asking price is. The key is, did they back it up with an appraisal gap? If it doesn't appraise, I'm willing to pay that extra amount.
They paid the extra amount.
They paid the extra amount. That's crazy.
That's crazy. So the good news is, though, because 8 is great,
Things have slowed down.
things have slowed down and you can negotiate and people aren't being crazy with what they want for their houses. Is that right?
I think people are still a little crazy about what they want for their houses. But the thing is, everyone kind of expected, well, everything's going to drop. Prices are going to drop, when rates hit 8. They didn't. What happened, though, is buyers stopped giving up all of their concessions, right? So they'd say, before, we're not going to do any inspection. We're not going to ask for anything. We're not going to ask for any seller concessions to pay for rate buy down or closing costs, any of that. I mean, if you had to have closing costs paid to be able to buy a house last year, the beginning of last year, the end of 2022, no way that was happening, right? Nobody's willing to
Right.
give any concessions. So right now, so what is the date today? Today's like the 27th, something like that.
27th.
27th. So 2 days before Christmas, the 23rd, I took buyers out and we got a house under contract.
No way.
So we got it under contract. It's a small house. These are guys who are first time home buyers. He's a teacher. She's a daycare person. We got it under contract. They were asking $340. We ended up giving them full price at $340, but getting $10,000 back to pay for their closing
Oh
costs.
my gosh, you are amazing.
I know you.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Vince loves when I get people, closing costs. Makes his life so much easier. But not only do you get closing costs, but there are 3 other units in that complex that are for sale that are exactly the same size, and they're listed at $375, $400, and $410. So these guys are $40,000 to $70,000
They already have equity.
less. They've already built in equity,
That
They get-
means when they sell, they'll already have that extra money.
and they've got the closing costs. That would never happen a year ago, 2 years ago. Just would not have happened.
So where's the roller coaster right now then?
So it seems like we're kind of on a very slow tick down.
Okay.
But here's the problem, right? When things were ticking up, they ticked up really quickly and everybody froze. Now, as things are ticking down, the headlines are talking about, rates have dropped 4 times in the last 6 weeks, which is great. But they've dropped down to 6 7/8 or 6 3/4 or whatever it is, right? They're nowhere near the 5.5 where nobody wanted to buy. Right. But because they're ticking down, people are rushing back into the market.
So I look at it like this. All right. You have a roller coaster here on the same track. Okay. So we're going to call this roller coaster letter A. This is the price of houses and negotiation ability. Okay. So we're going to start there. So we're going to put that right about in the middle. Okay. Then we have the one with rates. Okay. So as the rates come down, click, 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 the prices and the what's the word I'm looking for? The ability to negotiate is going to decrease, which is going to put us on a head-on collision again. That's my fear.
So yeah, I think it all comes down to supply and demand. So we're talking about supply. Right now we've got limited supply. That's not going to change for quite a while. 1, we can't build enough. 2, people are hanging on to their 3% rates, and they're not going to sell their house to move up until something drastic happens. They've got to move out of state, somebody dies, someone gets divorced, that kind of thing. So that's going to stay that way for a while, which is going to shrink our inventory. And the deal is we've got people, this built up demand, and they've all been waiting, right? They're waiting for rates to come down, to come down, right? So all those people that didn't buy on the way up, they didn't buy at 5, they didn't buy at 5.5, they didn't buy at 6, right? Now we're at 8 and we're coming down to 7, 6.5. That's when people are going to start jumping back in.
Yep.
So we've got this pent-up demand who at 5.5 wasn't good enough, but at 6.5, we're going to jump in, and demand is going to way outstrip supply. I think we're going to end up back in 2020 where we're going to have multiple offers. You're going to see 5, 6, 7 offers on every house. You're going to be seeing people pay above list price. They're going to be giving up their inspection. They're going to be giving up their appraisal gap, right? So that I'll pay above the asking price, and if it doesn't appraise, I'll pay that out of pocket.
So you think it's going to be as drastic as it was in 2021?
2020 was really when it all started, right? Right after the pandemic. So kind of right when the pandemic started, when people got freaked out about being in their little house or whatever it was, and they're like, oh crap, we need more space, or I need an office or whatever it was. I mean, by late spring of 2020, things were crazy. I listed a house, it was probably late April, early May of 2020. And the first day we had 45 showings. People were lined up outside the house.
Well, that's because you're amazing.
That is because I'm amazing. No, it's because of the market. So demand was just crazy.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what's been going on. What do we see in the future? We think that supply is going to stay pretty steady.
Yep.
Demand's going to go way up.
And hopefully some of those people that do need to either downsize or get that extra bedroom, hopefully they'll put their house on the market. They'll get a nice price for it. And then they can get a reasonable price on the new house. So I see things just kind of tapering together. I don't see anything drastic.
We've gone
I'm
from
going to go positive.
What happened to the two trains?
Well,
running into
the
each
more
other?
I think about it, I'm going to contradict you. I'm going to contradict
That's
you.
not me, it's you. But go ahead.
No. Okay. So until summer, I say until August, we'll have a clearer picture of exactly what's going to happen.
So you're saying that 8 out of the 12 months. Once we get 8 out of the 12 months, then we'll have a clear picture of what the year's going to be.
Absolutely.
Like? That seems like I think that by the time we get to postseason, where we're at in football right now, right? By the time we get to postseason, I'm going to be able to predict who's going to make it to the playoffs. What do you think?
I bet you can't. You know what? I'm going to take that bet right now. All right. So we're going to write this down. Who is going to be in the Super Bowl?
I have to tell you, I can't even tell you who's in the playoffs.
So the playoffs haven't started yet, so you can.
The playoffs haven't started yet.
You have 28 teams to pick from.
Okay, 28 teams. So Super Bowl. Let's see. Oh man, I just got to think of some teams.
I would say. I'll give you.
I know it's not going to be the Broncos. I'm pretty sure it's not going to be the Broncos.
Okay, so Broncos are out.
Broncos are out. All right, you got to tell me if I even get a shot at these people. Patriots?
Patriots.
Are they gone?
I'm not going to tell you till you're done. Patriots. Who else?
Because Tom Brady retired.
Yeah.
See, all I know is
who else?
I'm in the past. Green Bay was good for a while there.
So you think they're going to be in?
I
mean, we're 3/4 way through the season.
We are 3/4. But I pay attention to rates to real estate,
so
not to football. Well, I think those are
Give me 4 teams.
4 teams. Arizona.
Okay.
And how about the Raiders? The Vegas Raiders.
Sure.
All right.
And give me one more.
I thought we had another team. Kansas City.
All right, Kansas City.
Yeah, just because I think Taylor Swift is.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 3/4 of the way through the season, I have it written down.
Okay.
There's only one team that you pick that will make it to the playoffs, maybe.
Okay.
So wrap it up.
You said that doesn't matter. All right. So predictions. I think that predictions really depend on knowing what the hell you're talking about. Which I know nothing about football. But I do know a lot about real estate. Vince knows a lot about lending. I think that our predictions are pretty good. I don't think things are going to be quite as crazy as 2020, but I do think that we're going to see a much more competitive market. We're going to see prices rise again. I think that we're going to be right. You'll see prices rise somewhere between the 7 and 12% by the end of the year.
I agree.
And I think that we're going to see rates come down to about 6.25 will be the lowest rate that you're going to see this year.
I think they're going to dip below 6.
Below 6. It's possible. It's an election year.
I think they're going to dip
election years are always, always things are manipulated a little bit. So, but that's my prediction. So, you think?
I agree. So you better write this down. I agree with Brent. It's not going to be crazy, but yes, rates are going to come down, and yes, the Broncos are not going to make it to the Super Bowl.
I agree with that.
All right.
Check us out next time. I'm Brent Hilvitz with Redesign Realty. This is Vince Reese, and we are experts in mortgage and real estate. And Vince is really good at football, apparently, and I'm not. Thanks. See you guys next time.
Bye.